Anyadevam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsha Om Akyantamirandasya Ganajana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Janmadhyasya Yaton Vayati Taratashtarite Shabhigya Swarat Tene Brahmaridaya Radhikavaye Bhuyanti Yasurayah Tejo Varimridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sadhana Rastu Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. All right, Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, Chapter 2. The Vishnu Dutas are responding to the statements of the Yamadutas. That's the first passage is from verse 1 to 19, where the Vishnu Dutas refute the explanations of the Yamadutas by describing the glories of the holy name of Krishna. After that, Ajamil repents and Sadananda goes back to Godhead. That's basically the chapter summary. Okay, let's jump right into it. This is the first verse. So, my dear king, the servants of Lord Vishnu are always very expert in logic and arguments. Here is the word is Naya Kovida. And Sri Vishwanath, he's only my commentator. He says that this means those who are expert in Niti Shastra. Because here they're going to chastise the Yamadutas for an immoral activity. They're supposed to be, how you say, bolstering dharma, and they're introducing adharma. So this is certainly immoral. So Naya Kovida, they're learning in the Niti Shastra, and they're giving arguments like this. After hearing the statements of the Yamadutas, they replied as follows. Okay, this is the first statement. Aho kashtam dharma drisham adharma srishyate sabham yatra dharnde shapapeshu dharndo yar drijate vrita. The Vishnu said, alas, how painful is it that irreligion is being introduced into an assembly where religion should be maintained. Indeed, those in charge of maintaining the religious principles are needlessly punishing a sinless, unpunishable person. So, aho means astonishment. They accept that the Yamadutas are servants of Yamaraj or Dharmaraj. So that's why they're astonished. Aho, you guys are supposed to be servants of Yamaraj. What nonsense you just spoke. Of course, we went through their statements were very good. I'm very impressed with the Yamadutas. They are described as like very ugly, copperhead, and so on. So you wouldn't think they would speak so nicely, but they spoke very nicely. But the Vishnudus are saying, "Oh, what nonsense you have spoken." They're not impressed at all. Kashtam dharmadrisham adharma sprishate sabham. In this sabha, in this assembly, a dharma is touching those who are supposed to see to the establishment of dharma. Kashtam, what injustice. That's what the kashtam part was translated. How painful it is. There's so much injustice. Just like now people get upset because of, Black Lives Matter or whatever. And they say, what injustice, they do big marches. So Kashtam, what injustice?
People going to worship Shanidev. The story. Who's that?
Who is the ghetto?
Okay. Yes. So what happened was one time.
Okay. Also, Kashtam. Yeah, anyway, where's my train of thought? Yeah, what injustice is there? Yeah, Yeah, it's about injustice. How painful it is to see injustice being performed is intolerable. And Prabhupada's purport also, when the devotees get arrested for trying to spread the goodwill of Krishna consciousness, the good tidings of Srimad Bhagavatam, no one gets disturbed. But that is injustice. George Floyd, a complete criminal, gets a murti there in New York City and Union Square. Yeah. They have a murti. Oh, he's in Union Square. He's in Union Square now. He has one murtis there and some words of appreciation. No, it's been there for a long time now, a few months now. It's made out of something. He's along there with Breonna Taylor and one other Black, some dignitary who was also apparently killed in some way. Interestingly enough, his murti is the only one that's been vandalized many times over since it's been out. The other ones, no one is touching, but his has been touched. He was a criminal, but he gets a murti. And everyone is glorifying. Not everyone, there's some vandalization going on, which is very encouraging. But when the devotees get, punished unnecessarily for spreading it, no one complains. So this is injustice. That's when they say, Ajamil is a sinless person, and now you're punishing him. This is injustice. So for a person, that's what it said, Yatra adhande shapapeshu, dando yadriyate vrita. You are necessarily allotting punishment to a sinless person who should not be punished. So this is intolerable to us. Next verse. This verse is very nice. Prajanam pitaro yeche shastara sadavasama yadisya teshu vaishamyam kam yanti sharanam praja. So translation, a king or government official should be so well qualified that he acts as a father, maintainer, protector of the citizens. Because of affection and love, he should give the citizens good advice and instructions according to the standard scriptures, and should be equal to everyone. Yamaraj does this, for he is the supreme master of justice, and so does those who follow in his footsteps. However, such persons become polluted and exhibit partiality by punishing an innocent, blameless person. Where will the citizens go to take shelter for their maintenance and security? So prajanam pitaro yeche. So those who are pitara means a father. So the intention here is that the leader should be like a father to the praja. Prajanam, the citizenry, that includes the animals also. They're also called praja. So he's supposed to be like a father, which means he has affection for them. That is why for a leader, the attachment to the family is considered a very big disqualification. Because if it means over-attachment. If you overly attach to the family, then you cannot think of the welfare of others. So this is considered as a big discrepancy, not only for a king, but for a brahmana also, for a devotee also. Then one nice verse is there in Queen Kunti's prayer. So sneham pasham imam chindi. What is the next line? Something pandushu vishnishu. Hold on, I pull it up here. Yeah, this one. This is Queen Kunti's prayer. Yes, Sneha Pashani Manch, Dridam Panushu Vrishnishu. So here she praying to Krishna to cut off the attachment that she is having for her family members. The Pandavas on one side, the Vishnus on the other side. Krishna was going from Hastinapur back to Dwarka. So if he goes to Dwarka, her kids will be bereft of his sangha. But if he stays with them, then they'll be bereft. So she was in dilemma because of family attachment. Basically, that's what she's saying. So she's saying, cut off the sneha pashan, the rope of affection for the family members. I mean, this sidebar, they are bhaktas, so affection for bhaktas is important. But anyway, one of the commentaries is explaining, affection for devotees can have two aspects to it. The part based on the body and the part based on devotion. So the part based on the body, you cut that part, because it's making me partial. This is the point that the Vishnus are making. This partiality becomes dangerous. Prabhupada comments in this purport, which I really love a lot. He says, a pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. The typical example is the 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. And then she's scrolling down a little bit. He says to cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. I love that. To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. Without doing so, no one can be qualified as a brahmana, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. And the personality of Godhead as the ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramachandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. I just like that a lot. It's a very nice point. So Prajanam Pitaroyi Cha. So those who are like the leaders, they're supposed to be like a father caring for the children. And all the prejudiced the children, not just your kids. So that's what modern governments like that. They enter their families. So they screw over the whole citizenry just for their own families. Shastara Sadabhasama. Shastara means they should give instructions on dharma. Sadhava means they have good character, and Sama means they're equal. So here in the commentaries, I saw one, here he wants to explain the opposite. If Yadisha Tishu Vaishamyam, if you become partial by manifesting opposite qualities, so although you're a leader, you don't show affection to the citizenry. Although you're able to give instructions, you don't instruct. Or you give bad instructions nowadays. They do worse than that. They give instructions to turn everyone into consumers so they can exploit them effectively. Although you have good character, what was the comment there? Although of good character, you show, I forget the comment for the Sadhava point. Sama means equal. So equal here means equal in facing your own happiness and distress. But although you're equal, you are indifferent to the suffering of people around you. So you show like neutrality to the extreme degree, and you just become indifferent to everyone around you. I forget the comment. There was a comment for Sadhava also about although having a good character, you don't use that good character to benefit anyone. And it was comments like this. You have learning, but you don't use it to benefit everyone. You have good character, you're not showing. So if among such leaders, if there is Vaishamyam, if there is partiality, Kamyanti Sharanam Praja, then where will the Praja go for shelter? So this is a big problem nowadays. So this is the sin that they're indicating. You're supposed to be like this, or Yamaraj, and you're supposed to be his representatives. Now where will the people go for shelter? This Vaishamyam is like a really big problem. So much so that so much of our philosophy is trying to vindicate God from partiality, because this partiality is considered a big contamination, especially for those who are in a position of power. They show partiality. This is a big contamination. Because if people are, if you're partial as a leader, then where will others go for shelter? They will be in a dangerous situation. Next verse, yada chariti shreya itaras tadhihate saya pramanam kurute lokas tadadina vartate tadanuvartate. So the mass of people follow the example of a leader in society and imitate his behavior. They accept as evidence whatever the leader accepts. So here they're saying, if you do like this, then Dharma will be destroyed very quickly. This verse is very similar to Bhagavad Gita, almost the same verse. Yeah, just one line is there different. I think the second line is there. Itaras tadihate. Yeah. I think in the Gita verse, yada charati shrishas. So whatever the best guy is doing, that will be accepted as evidence for what every one of us should be doing. So if you do this adharma, then the normal people will also accept that this is the proper behavior. And that way, adharma will destroy. Interestingly enough, when this verse is quoted in Gita, also Krishna's making the same point. So the passage begins in 3:17. So in that whole chapter Gita, Krishna's kind of giving arguments. First argument is that you should do karma yoga because you have adhikar for that, which he had already mentioned in chapter 2. Karma neva adhikariste. So you should act according to your adhikar, that is honest behavior. Then the second argument was that even if you're a materialistic person, you should do karma yoga. because karma yoga depends on yagyas, and by yagyas it could be material prosperity. Then his third argument is that even if you are an enlightened person, so an enlightened person is not obliged to the world of karma. Those who have gyan, later on we'll hear in the Uddhava Gita, they have bhakti, they're not obliged to the world of karma. So you may have gyan, you may be an enlightened person, therefore you're not, he used the word atmareti, atmasantushtas, and all these words. But even if you have gyan, you should also still do karma yoga. And then his point here is that, what is the word they use? Loka sangraha, to show compassion to the ordinary people, because they're looking at you, especially because you are, you're the best guy. So they're seeing you, and whatever you do, they'll take as evidence. Then he says, I'm the best guy. I'm God. I don't have to do anything. But if I don't, but everyone is seeing me, if I don't do, then I'll introduce a dharma to the simile. Then one of Arjuna's arguments in chapter 1 was that the dynasty will destroy, unwanted progeny will come. So he says, in this way, unwanted progeny will come, because the destruction of the dharmic principles will be there. So I don't remember the verses, how Krishna directly. But this is Krishna's argument is there like this, the third one he makes in chapter 3. So they're making the same argument here. You guys are representing the best guy. So you do like this, Dharma will be completely covered over very fast. Just like now in this a little bit different, but in our sanghas, when so many leaders criticize other people, now everyone take that as pramana, what they should be doing. Saya pramanam kurute lokasava vartate. Every time you say, hey, why are you criticizing other sanghas? Why are you criticizing Vaishnava? They say Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. They always go to that. That's their go-to. And of course, Srila Prabhupada also they'll say, but mostly they go to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. Saya pramanam kurute lokasava vartate. And this way, no one minds criticizing other Vaishnavas. It's a little bit separate point, and that could be unpacked a lot, but just as a something, you get a parallel example. So this is not very good. Next verse. So 2 verses here, they want to say that also you're betraying the trust of people who have put trust in you. This is even more, sinful. That those who have put trust in you, you are betraying their trust. This is called perfidy. Perfidy. It's a weird word. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. You never heard perfidious? Perfidy. It means those who betray the trust of others. It's extremely simple. So here they saying, give example. People in general are not very advanced in knowledge, by which we discriminate between religion and irreligion. Swayam dharma adharma va nahi veda yata pashu. They're like animals. Most of the population actually like animals. This type of thing comes up a lot in Bhagavatam. The normal population is like animals, especially in Kali Yuga. So they don't have discrimination capacity, between matter and spirit, between dharma and dharma. They don't have capability like this. So what do? The innocent, unenlightened citizen is like an ignorant animal sleeping in peace with its head on the lap of its master, faithfully believing in the master's protection. Yasyanke shira adhaya loka swapiti nivrita. He's sleeping in peace, depending on the leader. It's going to lead us the right way. So peacefully lying, putting the head, shira adhaya. He's placing the head on the lap of the leader. Yeah, yasya anke, on the lap of the leader, they place their head, and they're sleeping in peace. So piti nivrita. Just like now, when there was elections, people were voting, one way or the other, and putting so much faith in these people. And then as the year goes on, these people cheat them. They never follow through. The common thing. So then the next verse, he's saying, if a leader is actually kind-hearted and deserves to be the object of living entity's faith, how can he punish or kill a foolish person who is fully surrendered in good faith and friendship? So if you are worthy of the faith, someone who is surrendered in this way, sakatam nyapritatmana, kritamaitram achetana. They are achetana, means they're not very involved in consciousness. So, but in good faith, they are surrendered to you. So how, if you are a trustworthy person, can you, and having a soft heart, How can you betray this and give pain to them? I think this is probably like one of the worst sins that you can do. At least I remember hearing that from one Vaishnava, that to betray the trust of someone. Prabhupada, in the purport, he uses this word, Vishwastaghata. The Sanskrit word, Vishwastaghata. Huh? Yeah, refers to one who breaks or killer of the faith and causes a breach of trust. This is extremely sinful activity. So that's what they're accusing Yamadutas of. Vishwasaghata. They're depending on you. Earlier, we heard in the fourth canto, especially in the age of Kali, but this was during the rule of King Vena. So before King Vena was there, the rogues and thieves were allowed to, do whatever they want. That's what's happening now. And then King Vena came. He was a very strong leader. So the rogues and thieves got subdued because he was, narcissistic enough that only he should have influence. But in one of those verses, it was described that the citizenry are like ants in the middle of a log that's being burned on both sides. On one side, they run this direction, the rogues and thieves. And then they run this direction to the government. And the government is Vishwastaghata. And then they're also exploiting. That is a very painful situation. You can't even imagine, actually. I mean, you can imagine a little bit. I mean, I have experience also like this. And this is one of the categories of suffering that everyone has to go through in this material world. It's having their trust betrayed. But that happens also like in an institution. You expect a certain level of shelter. And there's some dilemma, you go for shelter, and then they say, GTFO, kick you out or whatever. It's very damaging to faith. Then it makes it very hard for people to put faith in anything after that. They have an experience like that. They become extremely cynical to the nth degree. Then they don't want to put faith in Vaishnavas also. It becomes hard for them, especially if they're a Vaishnava who betrayed their trust, which happens also. So this is very simple. All right, so that's their conclusion on the Niti Shastra part. Now they start talking holy name stuff. A few more verses here. We're going to read through Sri Vishnu's commentary of Nam Tattva. It's just about to happen. 2 verses. Ayam hi krita nirvesho jama kotyam hasamapi ya vyajahara vivasho nama swastaya namhari. So now they glorify holy name. Ajamil has atoned for all sinful actions. So Ayam hi krita nirvesho. This Ajamil, he already did atonement. Because the Yamadutas, as Purva Paksha, they're saying, why are you chastising us so heavy? This guy clearly did sinful life to his death. You get all heavy on us, talk about Vishwastaghata. Why are you getting so heavy on us? This guy, look, to the death he was doing this thing. He didn't do atonement. So why are you getting so heavy? So Yamadutas are also incredulous. What's going on here? Yeah. And they will be mad, actually. 3rd chapter, they were going to Yamaraj. They say, hey, these fellows just obstructed us. What is this nonsense? This guy clearly did this sin. They also they're upset about it also. Yeah. Calling us all these mean names with Shastagata. It also sounds like heavy and mean. You calling us such, why are you there? He didn't do any atonement. So then the Vishnu Dutta say, Ayam hi krita nirvesho. This Ajamil already did all atonement. What? Hey, all atonement? He just was with his wife last night doing all nonsense. What do you mean he did all atonement? He already did all atonement. Not only for this life, Jama Koti Anghasamapi, even for millions of lives he has done atonement for simple activity. I can only imagine the Yamadutas. Totally. What are you speaking? How you say like this? Because Vyajahara Vivasho Nama Swasti Ayanam. Because this Ajamil, he has chanted the holy name and Vivasha helplessly. He has chanted the holy name Swasti Ayanam, which is here Swasti Ayanam, giver of liberation. That's how he's done the atonement, by chanting the holy name of Krishna. Prabhupada's purport is basically Sri Vishnu's purport. They just call all these verses glorifying the holy name of Krishna. We read them, they're very nice. Nam no hi yavat shakti papa ne hare name hari. We should probably learn these verses in the most Nam Tattva. Tavat kartuna shaknoti patakam patikinara. Quote, simply by chanting one holy name of Hari, a sinful man can counteract the reactions to more sins than he is able to commit. Wow. Avashe napiyan namni, kirtite sarvapatakai, puman vimuchate sadhya, simha trashtaya menkayariva. If one chants the holy name of the Lord, even in a helpless condition or without desiring to do so, all the reactions of his sinful life depart, just as when a lion roars, all the small animals flee in fear. Next verse. Sakredu charitam yena hare itaksharam dvayam, badha parikarastena mokshaya gamanam priti. By one chanting the holy name of the Lord, which consists of the two syllables, Hari, one guarantees his path to liberation. So he already did atonement. I can only imagine the bewilderment of Yamadutas. Next verse. Ete naiva hyaghonosya kritam sya aganishkritam yadha narayana neti jaghada chaturakshanam. Even previously, was the speaker chanting this now he chanted Narayana. Even previously, while eating at other times and at other times, this Ajamil will call his son saying, my dear Narayana, please come here. Although calling the son, name of his son, he nevertheless uttered the 4 syllables Narayana. Simply by chanting the name of Narayana in this way, he sufficiently atoned for the sinful actions of millions of lives. So, very nice, straightforward, same statement. All right, next verse. Now, this is, Prabhupada doesn't give any purport here, but he does put it kind of at the end. He says that one should refer to Sri Vishwanath's purport to this verse. So that's what we're going to do. But we'll look at the verse first, very nice verse. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a brahmana, or from one who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. It is also the best method of atonement for one who murders women, the king or his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such sinful persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. So this last line, Nama Vyaharanam Vishnu Yatasta Vishayamati. That's why this holy name is so powerful. Not because it really eradicates the sin, but because of this last line. Simply by chanting, such sinful persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, my duty is to give him protection. Okay, so let me pull up the commentary here of Sri Vishwanath. Where is it at here? Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Oh.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, before you read the commentary, can you answer my question? I'm a little confused with these verses. I didn't get the flow of them. Like, what are Vishnu Dutas speaking? I don't understand.
What's wrong with what the Vishnu Dutas are speaking? Okay,
Prabhu,
what exactly was the partiality Yaman Dutas were being accused of by Vishnu? Now, partiality here means that the context here is that they're introducing a dharma and punishing a person who is sinless, right? So this happens when you are partial also. People, and so in Prabhupada's purport, the way it talks about it is how unless you have money, you can't get justice in the court. So they become partial in so many ways. So that's just an example of the contamination of partiality. What the Vishnu Dutas are saying here is that you're punishing this sinless person, so they're acting like these leaders who are partial, who will punish sinless people to show favor to their own families or their own political ends and so on. So you're like these sorts of people. What a transgression of Dharma to be like this. Who I'm not understanding what Vishnu are saying to Yaman. Okay, who is foolish? Ajamil? No, they're saying the Yamadutas are foolish. They're making critique of Yamadutas here. Who is resting his head on the lap of whom? So the ignorant people, they're like animals. So they put trust in their leaders, right? They put trust in CNN, or they put trust in Fox News. They put trust in the president. Just like now, so many people put trust in Biden. I wonder how they're feeling now. And also on the right side, they put so much trust in Donald Trump. He's betraying their trust in so many ways too. So they're like foolish people. They just, you do a little propaganda. Or in previous times also, when you had good leaders, people are just like animals. They're mostly just interested in sense gratification. So they take for granted this guy got to that position. He must be working for our welfare overall. I don't think that's taken for granted now in Kali Yuga, but previously this was taken for granted. And even now, even though it's not taken for granted, people are still beguiled into trusting so many by different tactics. So they trust these guys, and then their trust is betrayed. So the foolish people are like the regular population. They're like animals. And just interested in sense gratification. Okay, you protect us, you do the king stuff. So it's like they're putting their head on the lap of the master. That means they're putting their faith in them. They're putting their trust in them. And then they're betrayed. Like now, everyone in the country, I'm sorry to give this example, but I can't help it. Everyone in the country is mandated to get vaccine, but all the illegals that are crossing the border, they don't have to get it. So people on the right side of politics, they're like, what the heck is this all about? That hundreds of thousands of people coming into the country, and there was some talk about giving them almost $500,000 each for, almost something like $450K each for the pain as reparations for the pain that they suffered in 2020 because of the previous administration separating them from their families. So this was, for 2 weeks, so so all the right people, they were making memes about that, how they're leaving the country and coming in as when these guys, so they can get $450K because they only got $1,200 for stimulus. What a betrayal of the faith. And they don't have to, they're not mandated to get vaccine also. So there was so much, political topics like this. So people feel betrayed. There's a betrayal. The main function of government is to protect the border. Previous old worlds, they would keep actual fence up. There was like a gate or like a boundary line. And the main function was make sure no one crossed the boundary line. Now they invite so many, come in. And of course, another side of the politics is like, we have to show compassion for all and this, that, and the other. Others say, I'm being betrayed. My trust is being betrayed. So that is a foolish people. They're like animals. They put trust in these people and they betray them and send them to be slaughtered. It's a very painful thing. Yeah, whose trust is broken by whom? So the trust broken is the trust of the people they're placing the leaders is broken by these sinful leaders. Somehow I'm not able to pull up the comments. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, well, because my computer is ghetto, dude. So I need to like clear it up. Yeah, it came up. Mukunda says, came across this fantastic quote from Srila Prabhupada the other day, quote, an ideal king thoroughly trained by culture and devotional service with the martial spirit makes a perfect king, right? Such a personal monarchy is far better than the so-called democracy of no training and responsibility. The thieves and rogues of modern democracies seek election by misrepresentation of votes. This is more true than ever before. And the successful rogues and thieves devour the mass of population. He probably didn't mean that right. One trained monarch is far better than hundreds of useless ministerial roles. Of course, we agree with this, but even the monarchy got poisoned. So they become dictatorships of cruel masters also. So Kali Yuga is the full battle, it's just like what to do. It's very painful. Yeah, it's all hood. Every man for himself. Really, it's the hood. Everyone should get, get their guns and the United Project of America. The People's Project of China. Yeah, it's all hood. It's just really terrible. Okay, so now we want to read this commentary, but it's already 9 o'clock. We'll just start the first part because it's very nice. And unless there's some other question. Well, we'll start the first part. I need to read it. This on this point. That the holy name removes sins is insignificant sidebar thing. The real thing is tabhishayanati. The Lord thinks of the person who trusts the holy name of Krishna. That is the real power of the holy name. So Sri Vishnu's come all share my screen. We'll just read the first part. This is 14 pages, so it's going to take us probably 3 years to go through this. At the place that I read it. So here's a commentary beginning. I think you can see the screen. The name of the Lord may destroy sins, but how can Namabas be the atonement for thousands of grave sins which cannot be destroyed by thousands of 12-year vows? Stena means a gold thief. Chanting is the best atonement since it destroys the root of sin. So these other vows, Prayashchita doesn't destroy the root of sin. That critique came earlier already. So that's why the holy name is better. Okay, even Namabas does this also, which is speak of purely non. A 12-year vow of atonement, though it destroys the effects of sin, cannot destroy the root of sin. This is not the only result, because from chanting the name of the Lord's mind dwells on that person who chants Tabhishayanati. The Lord thinks, this person belongs to me. I will always protect him. This is Sridhar Swami's meaning of the phrase. That is so encouraging. There's a nice verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So the Lord's qualities are being glorified. He has so many wonderful qualities, right? I think 64 pointed out. And one of the qualities is Kritagya. He is grateful. One who is always aware of what others have done for him. Doesn't mean Kritagya. He always has the word. Someone does something for us, we forget after 2 weeks. And then we're singing, what has he done for me lately? But Kritagya means you can't forget what someone has done for you. So in glorifying that quality, hold on, let me see if I can find this verse really quick. I should have pulled it up before because I did think of it, but I forgot to. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Give me a second. I just wanted to share this verse. It's a verse quoted glorifying Krishna's feelings toward Draupadi, who chanted his name in helplessness. She was being disrobed by Shakuni, but Duryodhana wanted to revenge on her because she laughed at him. Nothing more painful to a male ego than a woman giggling at her. He came into Hastinapur in the Indraprastha, and the Pandavas, they had one floor that you couldn't tell if it was like a pool or glass. It was a little bewildering. So he walked on and it fell inside. It was water. He fell inside. And Draupadi was on the top. She started giggling. It was like a balcony. She started giggling. She said some comment, like something to the effect, like father, like son. The father is blind and the son is also blind. And was laughing. So much pain to the ego he got. So he wanted to disrobe her to take the revenge. That's how this thing comes up in Mahabharata. He wanted to get revenge on her. And so this whole disrobing, seeing how gambling, seeing the Pandavas couldn't do anything, this thing is coming up. Okay, the qualities are discussed in the Vibhava section, right? Here, his flute. Dear Lalit, right? Okay, Krishna's qualities. Hold on, let me see if I can find it really quick. Verbal, Krishna's action, his clothing. Oh, so deeper down. This is Krishna's other forms for disguise. Yeah, here. Okay, 50 qualities available to the jivas. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I just really want to read the verse because the verse is amazing. No, it's the one about how he feels towards one who chants the holy name of Krishna, his holy names. So, okay. Okay, I'm looking for it. That's going to take too much. We'll put it up earlier. Anyway, I'm going to have to paraphrase it because it takes too long to share it later. But basically, he says that because Draupadi chanted his holy name in helplessness, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, he said, I'm always feeling indebted to her. And that feeling of indebtedness is expanding constantly. It's because he chanted helplessly, crying out to the Lord. It's such a nice verse. I wish I had remembered to pull it up earlier. It didn't take too long to find it this way on my phone. So this person belongs to me. I will always protect him. Tabi Chayamati. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Yeah. There. Okay. Some other comment here. All right. So they have some other thing here, but there are a couple of questions. All right. Question from chapter 1. Oh, questionnaire for chapter 1? Yeah. I'll need Tamir to I'll share it with Tamir and I need him to add the emails to them because I don't have everyone's emails. And then you can see the questionnaire for chapter 6.1. Tamir has some question.
Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. So when we hear these glories of the holy name, so for the part of the listener, like who is hearing, like are there has to be any qualifications? Like for example, like the first part I was thinking, like for a preacher, it has to be his duty so that he is giving people faith in the glories of the holy name and not on other things. And similarly for the listener, are there any qualifications? Because sometimes it happens that when some devotee astrologer tells us that you are having some difficulty in your life and you can do Narasimha Yagya or something, then we have like so much faith, we do it. But let's say if somebody says that, oh, you have so much difficulties in your life, you chant Hare Krishna and chanting of the holy name will destroy all your sins, then we think, okay, maybe I wanted some practical advice. Yeah, so I was thinking like, are there any qualifications on the part of the listener also?
No. What sort of qualifications for what? For qualifications for receiving the glory of the holy name? Is that
Yeah.
If there's any qualification, it's that he has faith in the person that he's hearing from. Otherwise, how he can receive it, right? But that doesn't mean the glory of the holy name is diminished by his adhikar. He may, be able to receive it, or he may not be able to receive it. But if he chants the holy name, these are the glories of the holy name. They work for him also. This will come up later in the Vishnu Dutta statement. But as far as, having confidence in those statements of Shastra, that will depend on if he has Shastra Shraddha, which usually depends on the force of the sort of Sangha that he gets, right? That's what we heard in Madhurya Kadambi, right? There are two types of faith. The faith that comes from sadhus, that's Shastra Shraddha, and the ordinary faith. That is like, this is nice company and all that sort of thing, empirical stuff. So if there is any adhikar on the part of the listener to receive it, is they have faith in Shastra, and they have faith in those who are teaching them Shastra or sharing the revelation of Shastra. I've seen, just to your example, I've had many Hindus come to Chicago Temple wanted to do some special yajna for this, that, and the other thing. So I caught Harisham. I was at least able to make him a devotee. He wanted to come and do Kar Puja, and I chastised him and said, Chant Hare Krishna. And he took it, and he became a devotee. But there are other instances where a Hindu guy came. There's one, this blew my mind. He came to the temple because he was about to get married, like in the weekend. And he wanted to do something auspicious. You found it? That's what you want. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one. Ujjwal found the verse for me. Very nice verse. This is in the Kritagya section. So this guy, he came, he wanted to get married. So he wanted to do some yajna for auspicious before the marriage. So I told him to chant Harinam. And I gave him some beads. And he said it's very difficult to chant. I think I told him to chant one round. He said it's very difficult to chant. So I told him, if you want your marriage to be auspicious, you must chant one round every day. I think his marriage was in the week. Every day for the week, and on the day of the wedding, also you must chant one round. If you do not chant this one round, your marriage will not be auspicious. So I said something heavy like that. So he took it somehow or other. I didn't see this guy until a year later. He came back to the temple a year later. I didn't even really remember him. He said, Sadhuji, last year I came here to seeking some yajna for the marriage, and you told me to chant one round every day. And on the day of the marriage, he said it was very difficult, but I did it. And my marriage is going very good. And I still, to this day, I'm chanting one round every day. Hare Krishna. It blew me away. I was so shocked. So what adhikar did he have to receive that? He came, he had some chai. I had the saffron on, that was sufficient enough for him. A lot of these Hindus are very simple-minded. You have saffron, you are sannyasi. Even especially in the villages in India, if you have saffron, they will offer obeisances to you. Very bewildering, because you just came off the street smoking weed the other day, got saffron on. They offer the obeisances also. That's an example how people put trust. Oh, you're wearing the saffron, you must be a sadhu. I must offer obeisance, that's the culture. They just put trust. Never mind what my background is or anything. So somehow I had saffron on, he put trust in me, and he followed what I said. That was Mahaprabhu's logic also, right? I'm spreading prema dharma to all these people, but these mayavadis, atheists, and others, they're running. So how do I get them to receive this thing? I'll take sannyas. Part of his thinking is described like this by Kaviraj Goswami. I'll take sannyas because they have respect for that. How you say? That's the position. Yeah, I was looking for another word. Anyway, they have respect for that. That's part of the social structure. They'll respect, and just by offering obeisances to me, they'll get purified and they'll be able to receive something. So you don't have to have much adhikar, it seems. But when it comes to receiving something, basic adhikar is some basic faith. Some basic faith. Now, Shastra Shraddha is the real faith. So that depends on the sort of sadhu sangha you get that Shastra Shraddha comes to you. But even some of the examples I just gave, there is a social faith there. Oh, this fellow's wearing saffron, he must be some authority. I should listen to what they say. I have trust in what they say. And then we say, Chant Hare Krishna, they accept it. So that's happened a few times to me, actually. And it's blown my mind. Because, we always know what we are inside. We can see from inside what we are. But all they see is that, this guy's presented in this way. And they put trust in that. And then if you give them the right instructions, they can be very beneficial. Agape says, one of the lessons I'm getting from this story is that, lessons in quotes, is the more ignorant one is, the more protected they are from aparat. Yeah. It is not more efficient and auspicious for those we preach to just trick them into chanting. Wait, isn't it more efficient and auspicious for those we preach to just trick them into chanting? Well, that's what we do. We say chant and be happy. We say chant and be happy. That's a trick. That is almost a lie. any stress and anxiety will go away. All your stress and anxiety will go away. Actually, free from stress and anxiety. Actually, though, it is not a lie, because especially if we invite them to kirtan, that's exactly what they experience. Especially the kirtan is like joyful. We're into like some Thursday night kirtan. At Thursday night kirtan here in New York City, well, I'm in Ypsilanti now, but in New York City, we have already this back up to 100, 120 people coming every Thursday. 3/4 are non-devotees, and they come regularly, seeing the same faces every week. Why they come so religiously? So I asked some of them why they coming this day and find inspiring. Because they get free from stress. They feel some sense of community, they get free from stress. Of course, if we have a little prasadam, that doesn't hurt at the end of the program. So that is a trick. We're making trick to them. Come and chant this Hare Krishna. So we don't tell them time frame, so it's not necessarily a lie. Yeah, it's not a lie. All your anxieties will go away. I want to make a shirt like that. Sham Suni and I, we made a shirt in Kali one year. Chant and be happy, or at least chant. You know, because the happiness part not coming very fast. So at least chant. Many people appreciate that shirt. I think Ananda Murari even he bought a shirt like that. I had many. Chant and be happy, or at least chant. So that was for the devotees. Then I was thinking of another one. Chant, and then you put the just and you put it all the way, and in the very back of the shirt in small print, and be happy. You know, that represents all the stages you got to go through before you get to the happiness part. Yeah, all of the dots are operas. So we are not lying. This is actually the truth. And people do experience it immediately. Then when they embrace it, that's when they get bewildered. Actually, when they come only as non-devotees, they experience it a lot. But then when they embrace it as a devotee, then they get the... What's going on here? Ever since I decided to surrender, my life has got jacked up. What's going on? Yeah, the devotees, they were so loving when I was a non-devotee. Now I become devotee. They don't love me anymore. I didn't even shower. It says once one starts associating with Shastra and devotees, the potential to commit aparadha increases dramatically. That is true. But do you want prema or not? So that is the goal of the chanting, is prema dhan. Tara madhye sarva shreshta nama sankirtana. Nera aparadha namnila paya prema dhan. The first verse, bhajanera madhye shreshta nama vida bhakti. Krishna dite dhare mahashakti. Krishna prema Krishna dite dhare mahashakti. So out of all the forms of bhajan, Navavida Bhakti is best because it has Mahashakti to give Krishna prema and Krishna. Paramade Savarsheshta Nama Sankirtan. Out of these 9, the best is Nam Sankirtan. If done without offense, near aparadha. If you don't do the offense, then Parimadam will come. So yes, by embracing it, there's a greater chance for aparadha. But then our greatest prospect is also made possible. So it's a trade-off. Everything in life is a trade-off. You can be ignorant, and at best we can get the destruction of ignorance and Vaikuntha Loka, some Vaikuntha attainment. That's at best, but that may not happen because, as we'll hear from Sri Vishnu's commentary that we'll study now, the fruit is like a fig tree; it bears fruits much later. The fruit of chanting, even for offensive, we heard this in Madhurya Kandamini. Even for a person who is offenseless, the effects of Nam may bear its fruit much later. Even they don't commit aparadha also. So we'll hear this come up here in Sri Vishnu's commentary also. So that's the best case scenario for those persons. But what may end up, they still remain largely ignorant. No, they live ignorant lives, that means to say, but they also chant enough, so some progress is being made, at least Agyata Sukriti, Nitya Sukriti is there. But if you embrace, you hear from sadhus, you get the Sambandha again, now so much potential is there. But then just don't be an idiot. Don't do non-aparadha. It's just like when you're on the train track, they say 10,000 volts, don't touch. And if you say, I'm a little curious, okay. So you touch it, you get electrocuted. That's on you. Be intelligent. The devotees are also preaching Nam Dharma. And they're also saying, don't do non-parad. So don't do non-parad, and you'll get the highest fruit. This is a little intelligence. You said the potential commit aparad increases dramatically. Yes, that's if we're unintelligent. So let us be intelligent. It's a little hard. I admittedly agree. It's a little hard because the culture is like this, especially with the technology. As soon as you feel some itch in your mind, you just post it on the internet. And it's there for posterity, that which is probably itself a big danger. It's not someone in the future reads that thing and gets diverted from the truth. So let us not be fools and rascals. Don't do not cry. And then get the prema done, the wealth of prema. Okay, so we'll continue reading tomorrow. This commentary is so nice, but it's been a few years since I read it actually. But so many interesting things come up here. It's quite astonishing about the holy name of Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Gaudiya Guru Bharati ki jai, Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.